Today we're going over the new heroes, Blazing Blade Banner, and Fire Emblem Heroes. This year we finally get Marcus and Lowen. As for returning characters, we have new alts for Attuned Eliwood and Entwined Ninian. We'll talk about everyone's stats and skills, plus discuss general playstyle and build ideas. This entire banner features cavalry units, so they can all share similar skills. Eliwood will have 2 new skills everyone can run, so I want to talk about them first instead of waiting till later. For new inheritable B skill, Eliwood brings Impetus Guard. This is another momentum offshoot where the second half of the skill is the exact same momentum instant cooldown effect. If you move 3 or more spaces, when initiating, you get -2 instant cooldown before attacking. If you move 1 or 2 spaces, you only get -1 cooldown. As for the new part of Impetus Guard, if unit or foe initiates after moving, then a bunch of things will occur. First, inflict -4 speed and defense on the foe. Second, deal true damage equal to the number of spaces moved by the initiator times 5. If they move 4 spaces, you can get a max of 20 true damage. Next, this skill gives 10 flat damage reduction and inflicts guard on the foe. Last, if unit initiates and the foe has an offensive special, you inflict +1 cooldown on the enemy before they attack. Impetus Guard combines Momentum's true damage and cooldown effect with Flow Guard 4's Scowl and Guard effects. The Flow skill's now follow-up effect has been replaced with 10 flat DR, and this is now the defensive variant for those that want Momentum cooldown. As a note, Impetus Guard builds out of Momentum 3, whereas Assault Impetus built out of Flow Refresh 3. This makes it much tougher to inherit because Sigurd is still the only other unit with Momentum. With that being said, Impetus Guard is usable by Beasts and Dragons, whereas Assault Impetus excluded those guys. Unfortunately, infantry are still excluded from this Momentum side grade as well. With that being said, infantry are getting another Echo skill they can use. We somehow got Momentum Echo before Sigurd gave up his Momentum 4 B skill. That is kind of ridiculous, but whatever. Just like the B skill and its offshoots, Momentum Echo has the exact same instant cooldown effect. As a bonus, Momentum will keep its true damage effect, but this part is weaker. You only get 2 true damage for every space moved, maxing out at 8 bonus true damage if you move 4 spaces. True damage aside, double Momentum is now possible and kinda just hilarious. Without slaying, a unit could now trigger a 4 cooldown AoE special. For obvious reasons, Sigurd's Ring can also just make this much easier to accomplish. Alrighty, onto the banner units themselves. Marcus is going to be the 4-star focus unit and will demote into the 3 to 4-star pool after this banner is over. Marcus is a sword cavalier, and for stats he has 40 HP, 40 attack, 34 speed, 31 defense, and 37 res. He has attack and defense super boons with a very unusual higher res stat spread. He has a kinda awkward speed stat, and if he's getting double, then well, his middling defense and res aren't gonna help that much. Now for all its skills, Marcus will have Swamp and Close Guard 3, nothing really remarkable. To be honest, support effects can carry any type of stat spread, but the devs have done Marcus extra dirty. If you take out your calculators, Marcus has a 190 base stat total. The current Gen 10 melee cavaliers have a BST of 195, including the new Eliwood on this same banner. For some stupid reason, Intelligent Systems has given Marcus what people have called the Veteran BST penalty. Dancers get a BST penalty because they get access to one of the best abilities in the franchise. Veterans get a BST penalty because Intelligent Systems hates old people, I guess. I believe only Gunter and Jagan suffered from this penalty, and that was on launch. It was supposed to mimic the lower growth rates of the Jagan archetype. Why in the world would they bring this penalty back 9 years later? It's just kind of insane, and to make it worse, this isn't even Binding Blade Marcus, who is actually older there. Effectively, Marcus is a Gen 9 unit, at least in terms of arena scoring. There are so many ways to swing stats that he's not unusable, but this is such an incredibly petty and dumb thing to do 9 years into this game, especially when they've never applied it to any other character since launch. Moving on from dumb decisions, Marcus's inheritable weapon is Melee Blade Plus. For foes within 3 rows or columns, inflict -5 stats and inflict defensive tempo to neutralize extra special charging effects. For the user, if they're above 25% HP, they deal true damage equal to X times 5, with X being the number of foes within 3 spaces of the target. This will include the target, so if there are 3 or more enemies surrounding them, you can get 20 true damage max. Melee Blade Plus has the same effect as the Spring 2025 weapons. Long range debuffing with defensive tempo is alright, but the true damage portion requires you to fight grouped up enemies. Marcus does bring a new skill line variant with a defense and res clash 3. If a unit or foe initiates after moving, gain bonus defense and res in combat equal to 5 plus the number of spaces moved. This can max out at +8 defense and res for moving 3 spaces. Clash skills are decent mixed phase stat boosters. It's nice to get a new variant on a demote, but the problem is that there are no tier 4 upgrades because, well, it's the first of its kind. There's no defense and res Clash 4 or Excel, so for now it's kinda just another budget ASCO option. For playstyle builds, Marcus's awkward stat spread is not helped by his 5 less BST. His attack is great, but speed's not very high, which means his defense res aren't really min-maxed either. While Marcus could try to forgo speed for more defensive res, I think that's going to be the toughest route to work with. Cavaliers don't have the best tanking skills, so I would try to focus on player phase initiations. Blue Skies or the new Divine Spectre can give Marcus Kanto, true damage and flat DR. Thanks to the momentum skills, Marcus can get instant cooldown, and you can pair this with Heavy Blade or the Bellow Bread type cooldown C skill. This would allow Marcus to at least charge up specials like Ice or Flame Wall to use their % DR. Melee Blade's defensive tempo can synergize with Arch Rival or Impetus Guard's guard effects. If you wanted to go for any kind of defensive set, I think I would still prefer Arcane Renegade's higher stat bonus with flat DR. It also comes with healing and some extra cooldown perks. As for other heritable swords, Marcus does have some great options besides arcane ones. For any kind of speed focus build, Arena Sword inflicts speed and defense shackle debuffs. You could also run this with, say, Potent Assault or Assault Force, maybe Execution Breath. Arena Sword can also be used in a support build with skills like Favor or any of the Honed Cavalry C skills. Other support swords include the Doubler Sword for attack and defense field buffs, and then you have the very cool Serving Knife Plus from Tea Time Finn. After assisting, you can get an extra action, which Marcus can use to buff up, then attack, or just get out of the way. With Serving Knife and Favor, you can give snap buffs, get cooldown, and you can stack true damage support using the Liberate C skills. If you want to have even more fun, this build can also make great use of the new Momentum Echo. Marcus can help the team and pre-charge a special for later use. If you're not really sure what to do with a stat line like Marcus's, he's a good example where double momentum could be used. Move 3 spaces, proc an instant AoE special, and then just one-tap the enemy to finish the job. Getting extra action from Serving Knife could make this playstyle a lot more enticing, and while it's not foolproof, it's just a very simple instant special build that really only requires high attack. All in all, Marcus is a strange unit. He can definitely find a use, but the devs really did not do him any favors, especially after waiting for 9 years. Next up, the only permanent 5-star of the banner is Lowen, who has fared slightly better than his teacher. Lowen is a Lance Cavalier with 44 HP, 47 attack, 38 speed, 49 defense, and 17 res. Lowen has speed and defense super boons. His res is terrible, but he basically puts all those points into defense instead. For old skills, Lowen has Flame Wall and Attack and Defense Excel, 40% DR special with a flat DR A skill, and Lowen has the base defense to make them work. Lowen's unique weapon is the Apprentice Lance. For Lowen and allies within 3 rows or columns, they get the following. Lowen gains plus 15 stats in combat while allies get plus 5. Lowen gets 25 true damage while allies get plus 10. Everyone neutralizes stat debuffs in combat, and they will heal 7 HP after combat. For himself, Lowen gets Kanto Distance plus 1, which is pretty nice. He has Slang along with 15 Excel type flat DR to stack with his A skill. Lowen will get a free follow-up attack, and last he gets -1 instant cooldown before attacking. Generally speaking, Apprentice Lance is a very basic weapon. Good long-range support for +5 stats, 10 true damage, debuff neutralization, and sustained healing. Lowen gets a good Kanto perk and the usual true damage with flat DR. He also has Slang and instant cooldown, which would be very nice with certain skills on this banner. For his own inheritable new C skill, Lowen has Attack and Defense Outcry Dull. At start of turn, if within 2 spaces of an ally, you grant +6 to attack and defense with the low status to those allies. The user gets bonus attack and defense equal to 2 plus the number of allies who kept that low status active. They also gain true damage based on the number of spaces moved by the initiator times 2. This can max out at +5 attack and defense and then 8 true damage. If you can believe it, this is the first modern Honed Cavalry C skill that involves defense. Outcry Dull's field buff neutralization will synergize with Lowen's debuff neutralization. Unlike some of the other Honed Cavalry skills, this one also gives the user true damage. It's very easy to inherit, but this one's only for melee cavaliers. While he will explode to any major dragon, Lowen does at least go all in on defense. He has some speed, so he'll actually do well with frozen support, and in general, Lowen provides a team with consistent stats. Always nice to ignore debuffs and stop the enemy's field buffs. Since Lowen has Kanto, he doesn't need Divine Spectre or Blue Skies, but I honestly probably would say Divine Spectre is still an upgrade over Excel. Against specials though, Lowen will stack a lot of flat DR with Excel, so it's generally fine to keep. With Slang and Preempt Pulse from his weapon, Lowen can get Flame Wall to 2 cooldown. If you bring Heavy Blade or Breath type cooldown, you can charge it to Radiate's 40% DR. If Lowen follows up, he can proc the special then. Now, if you want to simplify this, you can just add momentum. With Impetus Guard, Lowen can get -3 instant cooldown, so Flame Wall can trigger immediately. You can also add Scowl, Guard, and another 10 flat DR to tank the counterattack. While Momentum Echo would be overkill, double momentum skills would allow you to trigger Flame Wall even if you only move 2 spaces. It could also help counteract Scowl effects or just charge something like Arch Rival or maybe a future 5 cooldown special. Speaking of, Arch Rival may be a better general pick than Flame Wall since its 40% DR will always activate if Lowen gets attacked first. Maybe you want to run Distant Counter or something. As for other skills, the other momentum skills are fine just for their cooldown perks alone. Execution Breath could be used instead, and Lowen has much higher defense to run Patience if you wanted a guaranteed extra hit. Now, his speed is also in that general range where he might be able to activate regular potent effects like the Sacred Seal. For the C slot with his higher base defense, Lowen can use Breath of Life, or the rarer Odd Defense Wave 4. Lowen has a great counter perk, so Shadow Skills can be used too. While there are other build options for Lowen, they set him up to inherit Eliwood's momentum skills for an instant Flame Wall. He's not a fancy unit, but Lowen definitely has a clear identity as a physical brawler. Continuing, we're back to Attuned Eliwood. Let's find out why he's got 2 momentum skills. First off, Eliwood is an Axe Cavalier, donning the clothes of Hector. I think he got jealous of his recent Harmonic ult. Now for stats, Eliwood has 40 HP, 40 attack, 48 speed, 41 defense, and 18 res. He has a speed super boon. Clearly Eliwood's got some defensive bulk, but speed's definitely still his primary stat. For ult skills, Eliwood has Blue Sky Gust for Kanto, true damage, and flat DR. Unfortunately, unless your unit already has Blue Skies and Momentum 3, well, it's tough to inherit all of Eliwood's great fodder skills. For Eliwood's weapon, he has the Comrade's Axe. At start of either phase, grants +7 defense and res, truly incited, and 40% DR for 1 hit when initiating as a status to allies within 2 spaces. Eliwood gets +1 movement, but if he has Stall inflicted on him, then he'll remove the +1 movement to still get 3 movement overall. For combat, Eliwood gets Sling, +15 stats, 25 true damage, and 15 Excel type flat DR. He then gets instant cooldown on his first follow-up attack, equal to the number of allies within 3 rows or columns. This actually includes Eliwood, so he just needs 2 allies in the range for the max -3 instant cooldown. Comrade's Axe is pretty interesting. We got the rarer +7 field buffing, along with more in-combat stats from Truly Incited. You then have a one-time 40% regular DR effect for support. Now Eliwood is a 4 movement cavalier, but he counteracts Stall like Yuri. Everything else is fairly standard until the instant cooldown on follow-up effect. Well, Momentum gets instant cooldown on the first attack, so I think you can see where this is going. The reason Eliwood stacks so much cooldown is for his 5 cooldown Gathered Flame unique special. This thing has a 100% speed scaling for its damage. For Eliwood and allies within 3 rows or columns, 2 things will happen. 1. Eliwood grants bonus stats equal to the highest field buff on each stat among all allies on the map. This is bonus doubler 4/fringe bonus, but you can borrow from any ally anywhere. As for the second effect, if decreasing the speed roll to double by 25 would trigger a follow-up, the unit gets a potent follow X%, where X is the highest total field buffs among all allies on the map times 4. Basically, you add up the field buffs on each unit. If it has a total of 25 or more, Eliwood would give a full 100% potent follow-up. For more perks, this special gives Eliwood 40% unpierceable DR for all hits. He gets full enough follow-up effects and full temp effects to double and charge specials. In general, Gathered Flames is pretty crazy. Eliwood's bonus doubler support can now borrow from any ally, and the amount of buffs determine the strength of his potent follow-up ability. As an example, let's say Eliwood grants +6 attack and speed and the +7 defense res from his weapon. Allies would get the same amount in combat, and this would be a total of 26 field buffs. 26 times 4 is over 100, so Eliwood can give a 100% potent follow-up. You still gotta meet the speed check, but this one will use the better 25 speed advantage. We already covered Eliwood's new Impetus Guard and Momentum Echo skills at the start, and yet he still has one more inheritable to offer. Attack and Speed Outcry Seize is a new buffing C skill for melee cavaliers. At start of either phase, if within 2 spaces of an ally, you grant +6 attack and speed, and Drain Cancel to those allies. Similar to Outcry, this skill grants bonus attack and speed based on the number of allies who keep the Drain Cancel status. You also get the true damage based on movement effect. As for what Drain Cancel is, the status grants +4 stats in combat. Its main effect is the same as Nidhogger's Dosage status. Just to simplify, this status hard counters Nurgle's Essence Drain as well as Tina's Thief's Staff. It does not stop things like Loki's status neutralization because Drain Cancel only counters effects that steals these statuses. Essence Drain is pretty powerful, so I understand why it has some way to counter it. Drain Cancel kinda is a target counter pit because if the foe doesn't have Nurgle or Tina, then it's just a +4 stats as a bonus. To be fair, that's not bad, but maybe you'd rather have Outcry's full buff neutralization or the other cavalry buffing effects. Maybe it's not the best pick for every unit and team, but Outcry Seas is still just another great team buffing option for the cavalry class. Alrighty, so let's review what Attuned Eliwood's all about. First off, his team support includes +6 attack and speed and +7 defense and res. These activate his bonus doubler effect and give him 100% potent follow-up if you meet the speed check. The only thing stopping this plan is a team-wide panic. If you can get no panic support, that would be great. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that Attuned Hector grants no panic himself. Now onto his own combat, Eliwood can move 4 spaces, so it's easier to trigger his double momentum cooldown perks. This grants -4 instant cooldown, which will instantly proc the Slaying Gathered Flame special. Eliwood will have 40% unpierceable DR and 40% regular DR to tank a hit, along with multiple flat DR skills. He will also get the Scowl, Guard, and Tempo anti-special combo. Assuming Eliwood and the foe survive, if there are 2 allies in line with him, then Comrade's Axe will grant -3 instant cooldown. Eliwood could proc Gathered Flame again if he got hit back due to Tempo. However, let's say the enemy didn't even hit Eliwood. Well, since he has the potent follow-up, well, Eliwood can still get the last -1 cooldown on his first follow-up, then proc the special on his third hit, which is the potent one. Basically, Eliwood has multiple ways to trigger his high cooldown specials. Even if he gets scoured initially, if you let him double, he's probably going to trigger Gather Flame at some point. Very tough to stop, and Eliwood can stop enemy specials himself. He's also got 4 movement and contour distance, so yeah, very potent offensive kit. Obviously, Eliwood doesn't need other skills, but you could swap the defense stacking skills if you wanted. You could also use Execution Breath or Attack and Speed Bellow, but I think Double Momentum is overkill enough. Just to play into the stat support, you could run Instruct, but cavalry buffing skills let Eliwood provide all the field buffs for himself. It's not really great for his kit, but if he's going to dress up as Hector, it would feel wrong not to mention Distant Counter, just for fun. All in all, Attuned Eliwood abuses Momentum cooldown and introduces a new bonus doubler type support effect. It's gonna stack with all the other bonus doubler type statuses and effects, and yes, he will love Ichthynir's +3 field buff buffing perk. Last up for today, we have Entwined Ninian, who got a very similar yellow scarf like her brother Nils. This time, Ninian is a colorless cavalry dragon. This is such a rare class type that Legendary Ninian was the most recent cavalry dragon, and these two are even rarer because they are cavalry dragon dancers. Now, for stats, Ninian has 42 HP, 46 attack, 48 speed, 23 defense, and 26 res. She has speed and defense super boons, and like her other ult, Ninian is once again going for an offensive dancer angle. She has practiced a couple new moves for this ult though. Now, for her Entwined stat boost, Ninian will provide +2 speed and res. For old skills, she comes with Slice with Sparrow and Shadow Shift, which is always fun on a dancer. Technically, a new skill, Ninian also has Impetus Guard, just like Eliwood. I'm not going to go over it again, but the instant cooldown it provides can be used for Ninian's Blazing Wind AoE special, which I didn't have room to put here. When the dancer's the one spamming AoE specials, oh boy. Now for her weapon, Ninian has Bound by Ice. At start of turn and after acting, she inflicts -7 speed and res, exposure, and panic onto the closest foe and anyone nearby. Ninian comes with contour distance +1, she has Slang +15 stats in combat and deals 25 true damage. While Ninian has the usual 15 flat DR, she also gets 60% regular DR. Last, Ninian has full no follow-up effects. So, some debuffing support with exposure and panic is always good. Ninian does not have the best defense and res base stats, but she's gonna try to tank hits with 60% regular DR. She doesn't have a sweep effect like her legendary ult this time, so it is risky, albeit if the foe had no C disrupt then, well yeah, we'll take the 60% DR over nothing. Unsurprisingly, Ninian's main support effects are all on her unique Dragon's Twirl Dance Assist. Like her legendary ult, Ninian can refresh Kanto, and from turn 2 onward, she's gonna get to go again after dancing. that's going to come with a 2-turn cooldown though. Now as for the buffs Ninian tacks on to her dance partner, she gives +6 attack and speed, dominance, and the range 2 style status. Additionally, Ninian gives -1 cooldown. Dragon's Twirl's extra action is what makes Ninian dangerous. She can refresh and attack in the same turn, and Ninian gets all the buffs she hands out. Like the fun favor skills, Ninian can give free cooldown, and she gives dominance instead of treachery this time. As for the range attack style, it's the same as Mythic Shadow's Lyn. Melee allies get to attack from 2 spaces away, and the status goes away after it's used, so duels and harmonics get to use their own skills. Interestingly, since the status disappears, an ally can get Mythic Lyn status first, then attack. If Ninian dances them after, they can use the style a second time in the same turn. As a note, I saw some people talking about it. In the trailer description, it did seem like Ninian might have gotten the range attack style automatically. I do not believe that is true, and the gameplay clip also showcased it. Ninian must dance first to get the style for herself. She's not going to have it like Mythic Lyn. For playstyle, Entwined Ninian is very similar to her legendary ult as a dancer with extra actions that can allow her to make a sneaky attack in the same turn. For support, Ninian has -7 speed and res with Panic. You then get the +6 attack and speed field boost, -1 cooldown, and range attack style after dancing. She has 2 true damage statuses with exposure and dominance. Dominance will count Panic field boost for extra true damage. For her offensive game plan, Ninian will abuse momentum cooldown via Impetus Guard. She has Slang, so Blazing Winds on 3 cooldown. After dancing, it will go to 2 cooldown. If Ninian moves 3 spaces, Impetus Guard will charge the AoE. To make this a hard-hitting AoE special, Ninian stacks many true damage sources that affect AoEs. Her weapon gives 25 true damage, and moving 3 spaces means Impetus Guard is 15. Slash the Sparrow is another 5 points, so we're up to 45 true damage. While Exposure and Dominance also work for AoEs. Exposure is 10, so 55 total. Dominance turns Ninian's -7 speed and res into 14 more true damage, so we're almost to 70 true damage on the AoE itself. If you bring more debuffing sources and Panic is active, well, that amount still has room to grow. For even more shenanigans, Ninian can trigger her AoE from 2 spaces away, and the extra action occurs after Kanto. This means Ninian has a huge attack range. Feel free to swap to any of the other AoE variants as you see fit. Generally speaking, the main issue for Ninian will be finishing off the kill in combat. There's no real answer if the enemy has the 80% DR versus AoE special status, and instant healing is a pain, plus Ninian's not exactly a tanking god. Sure, she can get 60% DR, but it's pierceable DR, and we're starting off with low 20s defense and res. Impetus Guard can stop a special, but Ninian is certainly taking some risk if the AoE doesn't immediately chunk out the enemy. While Ninian is free to run regular offensive specials, her lack of defense and res means the dragon-only specials aren't the best choices. You could try an Instant Iceberg Glacies, but the rain style AoE special is a fun option, plus it's not stopped by Scout. For other skills, you could actually use Life and Death for flat attack stat boosters for more AoE damage. That will kinda kill Ninian's chances to survive a counter though, so be warned. If you want it to be annoying, you could use Winter Water Sweep, but I don't think that's worth giving up momentum. As for C skills, it's tough to beat the shadow assisting dancers. You could technically use things like Fatal Smoke or something like Liberate, but the utility of the shadow reposition is just so nice. In conclusion, if you've seen Legendary Ninian in action, then this is another variation of her offensive dancing. Things get even trickier though with that range attack style. That'll be it for this new Heroes banner. Another scary Ninian, and Eliwood is packing some crazy fodder, but you're gonna have to pick and choose which skills to pass on. The double momentum package is very tempting just to mess around with. If you don't plan to summon, we're actually getting a Heroic Grail unit for this month, and it's Wallace. I'll be talking more about him next video. Thank you for watching, good luck on your summons, and I will see you in the next one.